Whoa. Good evening, everyone. Hang on 1 second here. Not mic'd up. 1 second. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the King Leo Show. I'm your host, King Leo. How's everyone doing tonight? Make sure our audio is good. How's everyone doing? While we wait for everyone, not a big deal. Not a big deal. Perfect. Good evening. Audio's perfect. How's everyone doing tonight? Welcome to the King Leo Show. My name is King Leo, and I'm here to host your evening. We're early again. 6 minutes early. We have a lot to get through. It was a slower news day, but it's a good time to catch up and to issue an apology to viewers of the channel. Before we get into that, let's do our plugs. All right, everyone gets here. All right, everyone. So as you can see here, we have our usual plugs. We have our Discord here, which is getting pretty active. Join the Discord today. It's free. Link is in the description. Made sure of it. Here's our Patreon, $5 or $20 a month. Gets you access to the King Leo Movie Club. Be patient. I've been working a lot. And here we have the coffee link for the What Would a Postmodernist Do bracelets, available at the coffee link for $10. How's everyone doing tonight? How's everyone doing? All right. So we get... I feel like it's deceptive to say the show starts at 10 and start early. Not really fair to the viewer. I have to explain the crown. Let's see. All right. Fuck it. We'll start. Let's start with some of the weaker stuff in Schizo Watch while everyone gets in here. All right. Hope everyone's doing well. How you doing, Audio Vibes? Someone's here. How you doing, Audio Vibes? How you doing? All right, let's start with Schizo Watch. Audio Vibes is here. I do have an apology to issue later in the show, though. All right, let's play us in here. Schizo Watch. So, first thing I want to play here, man, is I have found this Jewish man, this rabbi, who is called Rabbi Shalom Landau, and he's become very popular on Twitter. Audio Vibes is sick. It's okay. You'll get better. You'll get better. Praying for you. This guy has put out these very interesting videos, and I think it's appropriate to include him in Schizo Watch, this rabbi, because normally we cover people that are driving you crazy. But this rabbi has been putting out these great clips explaining Talmudic and Torah-ish, Toraic philosophy on life. And to my surprise, anti-Semites and people like myself, who have nothing against people of the Jewish faith alike, are finding a lot of wisdom in this man and in the Jewish tradition. So I wanted to play one of these here because this is something interesting that happens. I've been listening to some Peter Turchin lately, and Turchin's an interesting guy. As things get weirder and weirder, as Timothy Leary said, we have to look back in order to look forward. We have to look at certain traditions. I mean, Steve Jobs famously fetishized Buddhism. We see a resurgence of Islam and Catholicism. Because people, they're searching for something that the naive people are searching for the real. But us Baudrillardians, we're not really looking for the real. We're looking for simulations that have worked and seeing how they can be adapted to the modern day. And this man over here, shout out to Rabbi Shalom Landau, has been putting out a lot of useful wisdom from a tradition I'm not familiar with. I don't really know how the Talmud or the Torah work. But let's just watch here, because in this age of schizoness, this man here is providing us with some relief.
There's a brilliant way to deal with the kids who think for themselves. Label them, medicate them, and call it proper care. You ever notice this? You know, a kid has energy, he has vision, fire, he starts to ask hard questions, he can't sit still, doesn't just nod along. So the system starts to panic because you can't plug a wildfire into a desk and expect it to behave. So instead of expanding the system, they shrink the kid. He has ADHD, he needs meds, he needs to calm down. How about he's not broken? How about he's just alive? Nair Hashem nish mesudam. The soul of a man is the flame of God. Some kids come into the world as matchsticks. Some come in as bonfires. And they drug the bonfires because they make the system nervous. So they call it treatment, but in reality they are choking your flame with a pill.
So I'm not sure how this works. I don't know how the Torah works myself or the Talmud. But what's interesting here is that I don't know, do rabbis, do they riff, or is it all based on scripture? It's not something I'm aware of, because a priest normally doesn't really riff. They're reading and helping interpret. But regardless, the insight here about how children should not be medicated, that some children come into the world as these huge fires and other ones come in as matchsticks, it's actually very Jungian. Carl Jung spoke of this. He wrote about this, and it was very good stuff. So I'm very impressed with this rabbi and his attempt to not make the world schizophrenic. All of his videos are great, dude. He had one about money, saying that money should buy you freedom, and that CEOs are miserable because all they can't buy their time. They're slaves to time. And it's funny because the comments are just a bunch of people that are like, normally I don't like you people, but this guy's cool, so it's interesting stuff. How you doing, Mr. Elu? How you doing, 112? All right. Now that Mr. Elu's here, I need to address him specifically. All right, Mr. Elu, I saw you yesterday telling someone that I was a jester. And while I would never run away from that, because obviously we're jesters on this show, this is a royal show. This is the King Leo show. We all wear crowns here, all right? So sometimes we do a little gesturing on the show, but we're also kings here. We got to put on our... Look up, King. You dropped your crown. We're here. All right, let's continue. Now we have a crown. Now we got to get... That was some positive messaging. Someone who's trying to save the world, make it less schizophrenic. I highly recommend you check out his page, man. This Rabbi Shalom Landau. I guess if you really dislike people of the Jewish faith, it may not be your bag. But he doesn't really... I haven't seen him talk about politics or anything. It's just life wisdom from the Torah or the Talmud, I assume. I don't really know how the Jewish people do it. Let's see here what the Department of Homeland Security is putting out as propaganda. They have just... Robert F. Kennedy and DHS has now entered its creepy arc as well, because if you can make sense of this, I'd appreciate it.
Prove it. Prove you are getting the worst of the worst. Show us the murderers and the rapists and the killers that you are arresting.
It's right here, huh?
Show it.
It's
Show
right,
it.
it's right here.
Show it.
It's right here.
Show it.
It's right there.
Prove it. Prove you are getting...
I remember this movie from when I was a kid. And I get that they're, go on this website. That's the worst of the worst website. Now, I don't even know if this is meme territory. I feel slightly perturbed, maybe a little confused.
Prove it. Prove you are getting the worst of the worst. Show us the murderers and the rapists and the killers that you are arresting.
It's right here, huh?
Show it.
Because normally you'd go, okay, it's just a meme. But they're doing it with this milk thing. I don't know what this milk thing is. They're talking about milk all the time. This is some deep cuts, dude. I don't even remember what this movie's called. I saw this as a kid. All right, let's continue. Thank you, DHS, for the very normal propaganda. What else we got? This one, dude, this is crazy. We have to watch this whole thing. I want to show you if you're still a Democrat, man. Democrats have simply decided to out-Trump Trump. Meaning that what they're doing is any Democrat that gets elected, except for Zoran, ironically, is going in there with this executive order, turbo woke, I hate that word, but turbo woke stuff. And when I say turbo woke, I mean it. It's not really anything that would actually improve people's lives materially. It's all like platitudes and crap. and annoying laws that they're adding on the book. So this was the recently elected governor of Virginia who used their executive order power to pass all of these. Let's watch Brett Baer give us a summary.
Well, that's the new governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia. Abigail Spanberger ran for that office as a moderate. But the executive order that she talked about is state and local police not cooperating with ICE to get criminal illegal immigrants. There's also a list of, now the Democrats control the legislature, that a number of bills that have been put forward. You can't read it here, but let me just go through it. Sales tax on Uber Eats, Amazon. Sales tax on admissions to a variety of businesses. Create 2 new higher tax brackets. 10% tax bracket for anyone making over $1 million. 3.8 investment tax. Raise the hotel tax. New personal property tax on landscaping equipment. Ban gas-powered leaf blowers. Guarantee illegal aliens free education. Make it illegal to approach somebody at an abortion clinic. Extend the time absentee ballots can be received after Election Day. Allow people to cast their votes electronically through the internet. Expand ranked choice voting. Extend the deadline for ballot curing. Redact the addresses of political candidates from FOIAs. Add Virginia to the National Popular Vote Compact. Make it illegal to hand count ballots. $500 sales tax on firearm suppressors. Assault weapons and large capacity magazine ban. 11% sales tax on all firearms and ammunition. Prohibit outdoor shooting of a firearm less than 5 acres. Lower the criminal penalties for robbery. Ban the arrest of illegal aliens in courthouses. Remove mandatory minimum sentences. Allow localities to install speed cameras. And replace Columbus Day with Indigenous Peoples Day.
What is this? This is like a mishmash of some stuff that's okay. You know, like, I like the mandatory minimum removal. Mandatory minimums, you find a lot of judges don't like them because it takes away their discretion. But you're trying to out Trump by raising sales tax, applying sales tax to Uber Eats, Amazon, you know, somewhere that people are still not getting graped by the government. 3.8% investment tax. Ban gas-powered leaf blowers. And I see Mr. Elu saying, aren't sales tax regressive? Yeah, they are. They are. I don't even understand when poor people are consuming Uber Eats, they are. And Amazon deliveries. Why would you tax that? New personal property tax on landscaping equipment. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? The Indigenous Peoples Day, this is just woke nonsense. You're still going with this crap, man? You still think that this is a winning issue? It's been rejected at the ballot box multiple times. The speed camera thing, why would anyone want that? So I get it. Trump did it first, and some people didn't like what Trump did in all of his executive orders. But this fighting fire with fire, this is ridiculous. Abigail Spanberger, Mr. Elu says she's a CIA Democrat. Dude, I wouldn't even be surprised because these are policies that are ridiculous. Who wants, 112 says insane blue hairs, but 112, dude, is this even insane blue hair stuff? This is just wacky. Like, there is some insane blue hair stuff in that tradition, like the assault weapons ban, which I don't even know if that's popular with liberals anymore because they've all started to buy guns. Replace Columbus Day with Indigenous Peoples Day. Illegal to approach somebody at an abortion clinic. And then in it is all of this shit. I don't know if liberals will still fall for this. Liberals, like conservatives, love to fall for bullshit. But they're giving you a shit sandwich. It's, I'm going to tax you more, but don't worry. We have Indigenous Peoples Day now. I'm going to hurt your income. But don't worry, we're going to tax Uber Eats. I'm astounded at the retardation of the Democratic Party. This is a party, this is, and she ran as a moderate, so I guess this is maybe moderate. She's not doing free buses or anything that's crazy. But Virginia is... Do they even want this? Redact the addresses of political candidates from FOIAs? That sounds to me like a CIA Democrat thing. New personal property tax on landscaping equipment. What are we doing? And this is just to drive people crazy. The gun stuff is obviously to piss conservatives off. But again, why are you even doing this? The Columbus thing, the speed camera thing. Oh, what do all people in America love? They love putting speed cameras. They love speed cameras. Yeah, no, this is definitely not going to scare the hoes. This is going to make everyone love Democrats. What a great job. Dude, I don't even know what these people are doing anymore. I don't know what they want. I don't know what they're doing. Let's continue. We have here Mr. Gavin Newsom, who has released this. The Gavin Newsom Patrick Bateman Ken Barbie doll. All right. This is, I get it's a meme, but I do find it a little significant because in Venezuela, famously or infamously in Latin America, they used to have Hugo Chavez dolls. So when I see this kind of stuff, I'm like, what are we doing here? Lopez Obrador did this as well. So I get it. It's like a funny meme, Gavin. And if you're really going to do American Psycho, it's cool, you know. But I don't know whether to take him seriously or not. We're going to check that out later. But this is a little third world creepy in my view. It's a little Mobutu. It's a little creepy. All right. How you doing, Pajarito Lindo? Let's continue. This one's great for all the Stalinists in chat, dude. This guy keeps delivering. He keeps delivering. I had to show you this.
If you're seeing this, you are now Joseph Stalin. Affirm and send to all your friends to make them Joseph Stalin as well.
I can't feel a thing. I'm putting pressure on the head. Watch them break, watch them ask me what I do. I'm balling out there. Watch me play, watch me ask me what I do. I cannot lie, the truth I say.
If you're seeing this, you are
Stalinism, dude. It's coming back. It's coming back. It is coming back. Stalinism, Deng Xiaopingism. It's coming back. I promise. They're doing Stalinism without the name. They're doing it without the name in a lot of places. It's coming back. Don't be surprised if you see 5-year plans being announced. It's making a comeback. Here we have, and I want to show this because I really used to hate this guy. I really used to hate Mr. Erdogan out in Turkey. I used to hate Mr. Erdogan. I really did. But that was back when I believed in the real, before I was the enlightened Baudrillardian I am now. And what I realize now is that Mr. Erdogan is not a rat. He is just a self-interested Turkish guy. And I can't hate him anymore. He has betrayed everyone. The Russians, the Americans, the Saudis, the Europeans, the Africans, the Syrians, the Israelis, the Palestinians. This is a man, you can't even say unscrupulous. He is just vibing. You know that you are going to get screwed if you go into a deal with Mr. Erdogan himself. And I used to be angry at him about it. I used to say, Mr. Erdogan, why do you torture us like this? But then what I realized when I saw this is that he's not even thinking about that. He's playing basketball with Shaquille O'Neal. I have a friend that recently returned from Turkey, and they told me Turkey has been one of the strongest allies of Israel in this war with Gaza or genocide, whatever you want to call it. And at the Hajj Sophia, they had up Palestinian flags. And this is just a level of trolling. This is like the master troll himself, Mr. Erdogan. Just vibing, just having a good time. I can't hate it. That would be player hating, dude. He betrays everyone and gets everything he wants. This man used to drive me schizo. Now I see him as a genius But I'm sure he drives every world leader insane. They probably go into the room with this guy and they're like, dude, this Turkish guy is going to betray me. This guy is going to betray me. He is going to electrocute me with a dog shocking collar like Hassan did. He is going to betray me. But I have to do this deal. So it's heartening to see him play with Shaquille O'Neal. Great stuff. Here we have to talk about Canada a little later. How you doing, Stephen? Here we have Ezra Levant, who is one of the schizos in chief, right-wing commentator, conservative commentator, harassing the beautiful Katy Perry, okay, with her husband or boyfriend, Mr. Trudeau. He's not even in office anymore. Who cares about Justin Trudeau? I guess Ezra Levant wants to rile up the stupid Canadian rights, the Pierre Poilievre voting, Calgary fucking drilling, poutine eating right-wing Canadians. And you guys know I make fun of everyone here, but dude, right-wing Canadians, I've met some of them that are nice, and I'm a Stephen Harper fan, but most of them like slop like this. So let's watch Ezra Levant harass this beautiful couple who's out for a stroll in the Swiss mountains.
Trudeau, what are you doing here at Davos? No comment. How come you never comment? This is the spirit of dialogue, is the name of the conference. How come you won't dialogue, Prime Minister?
You're not getting into the spirit of dialogue here.
Look at that.
Who paid for you to come here? Was it taxpayers? What do you make of the Federal Court of Appeal upholding the ruling that your martial law was illegal? They said you violated...
It's good to see you, Ezra. It's been a long time. How you been? How you been keeping?
Pretty well, but...
Dude, he's like the Cuban Gavin Newsom. I never liked him. I genuinely did not like Justin Trudeau. But this is pretty funny.
Gavin,
you didn't speak to me though.
I'm worried about you.
I don't think you have.
You stopped speaking to me after the boxing match. I never heard from you again.
That's not true. Every time we tried to come into contact with you, you had us arrested.
I never had you arrested.
You beat up my colleague David Menzies. Your bodyguards did. Your personal bodyguards beat up David Menzies.
Look at Katy Perry. She's like, what is this, an ex-girlfriend? What are you doing here, Ezra Levant? He is not even the prime minister anymore. Why are you here?
CMP, the official police of Canada that you're speaking against?
Yeah.
Well,
I think
if you're not going to trust our institutions, Ezra, there's a problem there.
I think our institutions have been weakened by you, to be quite candid.
That is your right to believe that and to feel that. And that's certainly something that you've continued to spread, people not trusting our institutions. A certain skepticism is important, but spreading of misinformation and disinformation is just... you're responsible, and I think you know that, Ezra. But, you've got a good little gig coming on. You've paid for all these people to come to Davos. I encourage you to continue to ask questions and challenge people, but to try and do it in a way that is grounded in facts and reality.
You've introduced more censorship.
Thank you very much.
A conversation is not you lecturing me. A conversation is a back and forth, not you just lecturing people. You misunderstood.
Your time lecturing and haranguing people and creating outrage. There's no need to...
you introduce more censorship bills than any other kind of bill. You don't believe in free speech. C-63 and all your other bills are about squelching people who you disagree with.
As well, you continue to make your points, and you're more than welcome to. So,
where was this swagger, this Trudeau swagger, when he was in office? He clearly has his dad's swagger. In case you're not aware, because you don't follow Canadian politics, his dad was Pierre Trudeau. Well, supposedly, right? And Pierre Trudeau's greatest moment was when he locked down the province of Quebec because the radical Marxist-Leninist terrorist group, the FLQ, was killing people. And they were like, you can't just lock down a province, sir. This is martial law. And on camera, he said, just watch me. It was like, whoa, Gavin Newsom in the 50s. What are we doing here, folks? Great stuff. Where was this Trudeau? Where was this Trudeau? He was such a little baby when he was in office. And now he's like total sociopath, Justin Trudeau. I would have enjoyed this for his premiership. We just had little girl, annoying, pretty boy Justin Trudeau. Where is sociopath Justin Trudeau? This is a Justin Trudeau that I would let run JP Morgan. This is a great Justin Trudeau. Where was he? Just disrespectful. Just listen, Ezra, you got to calm down, buddy. You're a crazy ass girlfriend here. You got to chill out. Great stuff. By the way, I saw Mr. Elu said, have you ever seen Erdogan's anti-Semitic writings before? I have not, sir. I'm going to look into that. I'm not even surprised, dude. And that would be even funnier that he's the greatest Israel supporter now after writing some Ron Paul letters in Turkish. That would be hilarious. That would be really funny. Let's continue. Here we have with the technology is getting really good, dude. Like, people are going to be really insane the next 2 to 5 years.
You think you're watching a real influencer. You're not. I don't exist. This place doesn't either. Proof?
I can make her travel wherever I want. I can dress her however I want.
All this is done very quickly with AI. Here's how. You think you're...
What's notable here is that anyone can do it. They're telling you how to do it on Google VO. This is fascinating. Because here we're going to have a dilemma, man. We're going to have a dilemma pretty soon. They are trying to make it illegal for you, Paris Hilton and Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez are trying to make it illegal for you to make deepfakes of women that are naked, right? At the same time, we have Governor Fishback in Florida, or prospective governor, who's pushing that we need to tax OnlyFans creators 50%. And these are all people chasing the real, can I please stop? You can't stop this train. No one gets off this train. This train is here and it's going. And at this point, how can you even try? How can you try? Because when the tech is this good, you can't even stop it. Who would you tax here? The Pakistani guy who's making this to earn $100 a month? He's not even here. He's not a citizen. He doesn't even exist. There's no way that you can stop this technology. This is where you get real Nick Land here. But this technology, there's no way of stopping it. And people want their fix. That's the unfortunate truth for any regulators. People want their fix, man. They want their fix. And they don't care if it's AI or not. They want their fix. There's no way out of this. As I always say,
we live in hell. We live in the gutter.
We're in hell. There's no way out. So tax it, regulate it at your peril. There will always be ways around it. And finally, I'd like to show this. This was some very confident messaging from our Chud Vice President, J.D. Vance.
This is something I want you to hear. The Democrats talk a lot about the affordability crisis in the United States of America. And yes, there is an affordability crisis, one created by Joe Biden's policies. You don't turn the Titanic around overnight. It takes time to fix what was broken. I said,
okay, thank you, Mr. Vance. So the economy is the Titanic. The economy is the Titanic, and we need to turn it around before it hits the iceberg. Who's writing this stuff? He has to be coming up with this because he can't be this bad. He can't be this bad. Describing the economy as the Titanic. You know what that means, right? We're gonna hit the iceberg. We're going to hit it. You are conjuring up images to me of Leonardo DiCaprio on a door, slowly freezing to death in the Gulf of Mexico. I think that's where they shot it, okay? Who's writing this stuff? This guy is probably the worst speaker we have in government right now. The economy as a Titanic. There's no saving this, man. It's over. Let's get to the Goyim are going insane with our first Jewish edition.
The people are retarded.
So let's start here from my backyard. I wanted to show you this in the fallout of this Nick Fuentes clubbing thing. A lot of information has come out of the mayor of Miami Beach, the mayor of the Miami Beach. I don't like him for political reasons. I think he's a bad mayor. But putting that aside, they discovered these photos of him at the Wailing Wall, and he's wearing Air Davids? What is this? Sir, dude, this is... he's wearing it with a suit, which is already bad enough. But you've gone insane, sir. You've ordered custom Air Davids. This is crazy. This is crazy. Where did he get this? Where did he get these? Who's making these kids? Who made... This is the mayor of Miami Beach? The Goyim have gone insane. This is... Where do you buy this? And this is like a 50-year-old man in the Air Davis. Even the other people at the Wailing Wall are like, what are you wearing, dude? Where did you get this? All right. By the way, I see Mr. Elu's asking where that voice is from the intro. That's from the Wild Wild Country guy, dude, where he's like, democracy is retarded. You know, just a clip from that. So, Mayor Miami Beach, dude. Let's continue. What else we got? We got this. Look, first of all, I'm going to preface it with this. I'm a pioneer on this, but you don't know this, but I've been saying this for at least 7 years now. I am against literacy. I don't think people should learn to read. There are a lot of problems with the Cuban Revolution, but I think the greatest sin that Fidel Castro did was teaching people how to read. Okay? I want to have anti-literacy brigades. I want people to go around Cuba teaching people how to forget reading. Reading is bad. Maybe I'm a bit of a Socrates guy here. People should not read. Okay? Obviously, you guys in the chat should read. But I'm talking about the average person should not be reading. Also, there's studies. Most people can't even read. They don't know how to read. All right, you can look these up. They're not fringe journals. It's people saying, look, most people don't know how to read. They don't know how to interpret actual words. They can't conceptualize it. In the United States, at least, that's a study I've seen. Reading is just giving a bunch of chimps machine guns. It's a bunch of morons that are reading books and they have no idea what to do with the information, so they become retarded. No, I am not a Parenti fan myself, sir. He said some interesting stuff. I liked, what is it, Red Shirts and Brown? No, what is it called, that book? I read that one back in college. Not a huge fan of Parenti myself, but he's had some insightful stuff to say. So let's see here what the Goyim are reading, dude. Like this is your American liberal, man. These people, look at the shirt. Read books, lift weights, fight fascists. I'm sure it's going to be an excellent reading list.
There's something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there, telling me I got to beware. I think it's time we stop, children. What's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. There's battle lines being drawn. Nobody's right if everybody's wrong. Young people speaking their minds are getting so much resistance from behind. Time we stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. What a field day for the heat. 2000. These fucking assholes! The fuck is their problem, man?
I'm speechless. I'm speechless. We're throwing in. What world do liberals live in? What world do they live in? What fucking world do they live in? This is cringe. This is stupid. No. Eliminate. Just lift the weights. How about that, meathead? The Crucible, Arthur Miller's worst fucking work. Night. It's just the George Takei book. He's filled his head with some good stuff, but most of it is garbage. We're going to read Kendi. I tried to read that book, dude. That book is unreadable. Same as Michelle Obama's book. I tried to read that. I got that at a little free library. Unreadable. The Constitution. How about you don't read the Constitution? How about you don't? The Bible. Brother, how about you just lift the weights? This is an insight into why they're so hysterical too. The liberal. I don't know what Night has to do with anything right now. What does Night have to do with? Night is a horrific retelling, fictional, of the concentration camps in Poland. Okay? What does that have to do with anything going on right now? The ending of Night is someone's father's skull getting caved in by an SS officer. What are we doing? This is how. What is the lesson to apply here? I get it. People are dying in detention centers. Like 6 people have died. What are you going to learn from Night right now? The new Jim Crow? What are you going to learn? Please explain to me what you're going to learn from that. Explain to me what you're going to learn from that. I would pay money to hear him succinctly explain each of these books. I bet you he hasn't even fucking read these books, dude. I bet you he hasn't read these books. I thought the new Jim Crow was obviously a little stupid, but it was a good book. It was okay. I preferred Kanye West's interpretation of it. Abolish the 13th, you know. These people are reading a bunch of garbage. An African American and Latinx history of the United States. What even is this? I haven't heard of this book. Why would I read this? Maybe instead of reading, I blame Ty Lopez for this. This reading shit, how it's going to fix it's not going to fix the world. Stop reading these books. Why are you reading this? You're not going to spot anything that's going to, I don't think this guy is going to solve anything by reading these books. And all they're going to do is make him paranoid and retarded because he's going to, it's just like in Night, which is a fictional book. The Crucible, a fictional play. It's just like this. Salem witch trials all over again. Where are the Salem witch trials right now? Where are they? Please explain to me where they're happening. A Latino finds out you read the Latinx history of the United States. They want you to send them back to the detention camp. What are you doing? These people are insane. They're insane. How are you doing, Ephra? I'm glad you read technological books, Ephra. I'm starting to skew towards engineering. How you doing, Schofield? He forgot Animal Farm and Goosebumps. Right. Yeah, he should add in Goosebumps and Animal Farm. You're adding in the Crucible. Why don't you read a good play like Waiting for Godot? Why are you reading the Crucible? The Crucible sucks. I hate the Crucible. Just garbage, man. Garbage. By the way, the reason, because I saw people ask, I'm not a Parenti fan, is because I think he's a little too materialist at times. But I like what he has to say. I wanted to show you this, bro, because Here, you're going to think that I'm saying the main character has gone insane. But no, it's everyone around him and the people reacting to this clip. This is an enlightened man. Let's listen to what he has to say here waiting for the train.
Why do they have lines? Why are they in lines? You can literally skip the line and get the train. What the hell? They're all in a line. You can literally just go straight to the door, bro. What the hell? Why are you all in lines? Look at them. You just go in the train. I don't even want to go in the train. Oh, this life is corrupted. Everyone's in a circus. Look, they're all in a line, one by one, waiting to get on the train. Life is a simulation.
Everyone in the comments is going, camp of the saints. This is why blacks can't be in Europe. This is an enlightened man. You are defending making a queue for you to go to wage slave, eat your slop, then get back on the train after making a queue to go back home and eat more slop and watch slop on the TV. This is an enlightened man. This is a transgressive. This is someone pointing out the ridiculousness of it all. All the comments are like racist, this is a stupid black guy. He's showing you the truth. The truth is that you're the idiot. He doesn't want to get on the train. It is a simulation. You are boxed in. And it doesn't make you a better person that you're boxed in. It doesn't make you Aryan Chad God or whatever that you're boxed into the rat race. That just makes you a moron. If you want to do it or you have to, that's fine. But all the reactions of like, low IQ, stupid African immigrant, that to me, that's the slave mentality.
This is exactly what I'm talking about, the slave mentality, the slave mind.
It's the slave mind. I will stand up for my Western principles. My Western principles include making the queue to go to work on the train, which is like the shuttle bus that I have to share because I can't afford a car to go to my wage slave job and fucking eat slop and watch slop. You're defending that? I thought defending the West was just defending Da Vinci, Steve Jobs, Mark Twain, Franklin Roosevelt. This is defending the West? It's the low IQ African is not making the queue. Yeah, he's not. He's free. And you're a slave.
This is exactly what I'm talking about, the slave mentality, the slave mind.
All right, let's continue. We'll save that for tomorrow. Here I wanted to show something else. These people are, this is again, liberalism on full display. And I want you to catch the subtle white supremacy in this caption.
I'm having trouble trying to sleep. I'm counting shit.
Obviously, this is a narcissist. Obviously. But when you read this caption, in my most well-to-do white lady clothes, so if I end up on the news for being illegally questioned, detained, roughed up, or murdered at point blank range, they can't spin it like I'm some blue-haired paid protester with no job. And here we're starting to see something new. When the first Trump term started, we had this thing where, Ozzy Osbourne's daughter was saying, if you deport all the Mexicans, who's going to clean your toilet, Donald Trump? And it's like, all right, so you're saying that you're better than other people. All right, very liberal. Here now we're seeing internal white supremacy. We're seeing some sort of classism here. You're saying that you're better than the blue-haired hysterical liberal. And you may still hold the same hysterical liberal values, but you're a well-to-do, well-dressed white lady. So you're looking down on your white sisters that are just as passionate as you, but they have blue hair? It strikes me as some internal white supremacy. Okay? We're seeing a resurgence of classism amongst the whites. And I don't know how the white people are going to deal with this, man. Shout out to the white people. I hope you can figure this out. How you doing, D4? Continue. This here, dude, I was conflicted about whether this was Schizo Watch or the Goyim have gone mad. But we're gonna have to watch this, dude. Like, this is because they're doing it, so they've gone mad.
Bought this payphone on Facebook Marketplace and then modified it a bunch and then changed the signage to say call a Republican. And then we brought the payphone to San Francisco, California, which is the most liberal city in America. And then we installed the payphone outside of Black Serum Tattoo, of course, with their permission. And after we installed the phone, we then got on a flight to Texas where we bought another payphone in Dallas and drove it 2 hours west to Abilene, the most conservative city in America. And then at an Airbnb, we modified it a bunch and had it say call a Democrat on it. And then we installed this payphone outside of 7-in-1 Books, of course, with their permission. And when you pick up this phone in Texas, it automatically calls the other phone in San Francisco. And when you pick up the phone in San Francisco, it automatically calls this one in Texas. The project is called The Party Line, and the goal is to get people from different political viewpoints to have meaningful, not hateful conversations. Because at a biological level, humans are far more similar than we are different. And while political discourse often causes stress, human-to-human friendly conversations reduce the stress in our brains and activate the neurotransmitters dopamine and cannabinoids, which make us happier. So follow us to see how this project goes and to hear the conversations that people have on these phones. Also, if you're in Abilene, Texas or San Francisco, California, go check it out. Bought this.
I know how the conversations are going to go because I'm not a moron. It's going to be, shut up, N-word. You spit. Go back to your country. It's going to be a Call of Duty lobby. That's what it's going to become. You know what it'll become? It'll probably become a way for drug dealers to communicate untraced. Bringing back payphones to cause schizophrenia, to make people increasingly crazier. They're not going to settle their differences. They're going to start yelling slurs at each other, and you're going to waste people's time. You're just going to waste people's time. What does a $50K a year guy in Texas have to talk about with, I don't know, $100K a year guy in San Francisco about? What are they going to do? This is, I don't even want to say performative. The problem that I see is that this is like a reduced agency. This is a belief that you will be able to solve national problems through laying down phone lines. I think communication is what has made it worse. I think that that's what we have seen with technology, is that everyone being integrated on the grid has made things worse, has led to more conflict, more anger. That's why people in Biloxi, Mississippi are pissed at gay marriage in California, and why people in California are pissed at Stand Your Ground in Florida, because we're all more connected. And it was supposed to bring us together, but it's not. It's not. I don't see how this is going to work. I just see it wasting people's time. It reminds me of that portal they opened. Remember that portal that ended up with people exposing their genitals to each other from Ireland to New York? I mean, what do you dude, someone is going to pick up this phone and read all of Mein Kampf. That's what they're going to do. And then someone else is going to pick it up and read all of How to Be an Anti-Racist while the other guy yells slurs. That's what's going to happen here. That's what's going to happen. What do you think? Who is this going to attract? Now, there's an argument. If it wasn't posted on the internet, if it were true performance art. In Texas, there's great performance art, actually. There's like this Gucci store that they set up in the middle of the desert, or Louis Vuitton. It's very, very cool. That would be different, because performance art, when it's not seen, it's less fake. when people have to discover it, when it's organically grown. But this is clout chasing from the start. Who do you think is watching this? Dude, I want to fly to Texas to fucking call a Democrat now. I want to do it, and I want to say the worst stuff imaginable. Why would I not want to? And then I want to fly to California and call a Republican and say the worst stuff imaginable to them. Your kid will be trans. I promise you. You're like, why would you not do that? That is the funniest thing you could do. D4 says, I built a phone that automatically calls people the N-word. That's what they should do. That's what they built. They built the phone that calls people the N-word. An automated N-bomb machine. Call a Democrat N-word, 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 N-word. That's what they're going to do. That's what they're going to do with this phone. That's what they're going to do. So I don't approve of this project. I think it's retarded. And I think it's just going to make, dude, Democrats are going to come away from this on the other side. And they're going to go, God, those Republicans are actually worse than I thought. And Republicans are going to be like, these Democrats are worse than I thought. And then they're going to kill each other. All right. What is this? Who thought of this? And it's so earnest in tone that you're like, you can't be serious. You can't be serious. You can't be serious. But all right. Go out to Texas, call a Democrat, see how that goes for you. Let's watch here. Here, I kind of don't hate this behavior. I know Ephra might disagree. Ephra, you know what? At this point, actually, I don't. I think all of these people should be locked up. I think they should be buried under the prison. I used to be anti-electric car, anti-self-driving. But with time, I've accepted that we live in hell.
We live in hell. We live in the gutter.
And to be honest, I'm all for banning humans from driving at this point. I want all self-driving cars. And I want them all to be Tesla. That way there's no confusion. And that way there's no car accidents. We need to get rid of these human drivers. If you've learned anything after COVID, is that people do not know how to drive anymore. So when I see this pack of children beating up on a Waymo, I actually think they should be buried under the prison. These antics will not be tolerated in the techno-feudal state.
Say my name, I pop up like the boogeyman. Fucking the game over, dropping bangers with no hooks. And free my brother Leak. I hate I'm putting money on your books again. Yeah. If you ain't never took a man, nigga, calm down. I know her, so I approached her with my palm out. Was on that she in the county ring songs. Yeah. Risk taker, beat that block with 50 niggas on it. Yeah. Hey, Echo, turn this beat off if I ain't tripping on it. Hey, man.
A few years ago, I would have said, no, this is good. We're stopping the replacement of human beings. But at this point, I look at them and I go, these Luddites, these children, they don't understand the world that we can have delivered to us. They don't understand the vision of Chesa Boudin, dude. I'm a Chesa Boudin revisionist. When Chesa Boudin was letting people break into your car with impunity, he was pushing you to use a rideshare vehicle. He was trying to unburden you by what has been. He was trying to get you to say, do I really need this car? Or can we build a better world together where we share our cars and they drive themselves and we reduce insurance costs to zero because there will be no accidents? And these idiots sent him to go teach at Berkeley. So yes, lock these people up. We need self-driving cars. What about self-driving trucks? We need self-driving trucks, dude. Everything should be self-driving. Everything. Now here, we're going to end with this stuff here. Yeah, I think these two, yeah. Well, no, we have this last bit, all right? But we'll end here today, all right? Listen. I love my people. I'm not a self-hating guy. I'm not like all these Latinos. Because I am one. Why would I hate it? But I do have a problem with some aspects of our culture. And this needs to be fixed. And this is under-discussed. We need to stop eating this crap, dude. And I've seen Americans starting to eat this garbage. This is, if it started as a plot, I want to make it this so that maybe it incentivizes people. I want to bring a little Nation of Islam into this. Okay? The white man, the Yakubian race, invented hot Cheetos to make you obese, to kill you, to conquer Latin America. Okay? If you need to hear it that way, then I'm here to say it, okay? And you have embraced the white man's tools to kill yourself? Do you hate yourself? Let's see what the Latinos are eating, dude. Someone needs to stop these Latinos.
Sí. ¿Dorito, Lupito? ¿Dorito? Sí. ¿Con todo? ¿Qué más se me antoja, Payo? Ándele. Bueno, nos metemos a Payo, ¿qué tiene? Ya ves. Sigue lloviendo. Lupito. ¿Usted qué va a querer? Yo soy poquitos más puritos. ¿Poquitos más? Sí. Muy
He
bien.
wants more Doritos.
Lechuga o repollo. Repollo. Muy bien. Poquito también. ¿Así, verdad? ¿Salsita de cuál? De casera y habanera. Casera y habanera, ¿verdad, Lupito? Muy bien. Y Lupito. Casi le quedó. Poquita, ¿verdad, Lupito?
O toda.
Ahí está.
Ahí está.
¿Es que también unos doritos?
Sí. La coca.
Ah, ¿de lata o de desechable, Lupito? Ahí tiene, Lupito.
I look at my people and I'm disappointed. What are you doing to yourself, young man? You're Mexican. You're the descendant of Pancho Villa, of Zapata, of Benito Juarez. Your ancestors built Tenochtitlan. Your ancestors, Hernan Cortez, conquered a continent. And you're eating this? My God. God. What are you doing to yourself, man? What are you doing to yourself? You are already overweight and you're eating this garbage food. This I don't know how we solve this, man. But the Latinos, you can't be looking like that in the big 2026. We have Marco Rubio. Okay? Marco Rubio, we have him. He's making us look good for you to show up as some fat idiot. More sauce, please. It's just. The descendants of Hernan Cortez are eating Doritos with sauce on them. Christopher Columbus, if you can hear me, please save us. Christopher Columbus, if you can hear me, please save us. I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted. That's enough for the day. All right, I have to issue an apology. Let's get to the rest of the show. I have to issue an apology. All right. We're going to cover Greenland. All right. I was wrong. Okay? I was wrong. And I have made this apology form for you guys as well. I'm a Baudrillardian. That doesn't mean I get things right all the time. We all have a right to make a mistake. Okay, so I made this apology form because I thought that we had acquired Greenland yesterday. I've been informed that that is not the case. We have not acquired Greenland. That is not true. I filled out my form earlier today. I had to check off a couple boxes. I enjoy the simulation. I believe politics still reference reality. Everyone else believed it, so I called it consensus. I assumed the real still mattered. And I thought my takes were analysis. They weren't. I was wrong. I'm sorry. All right? I made a mistake. I made a mistake. We did not acquire Greenland. We are not going to be having Greenlandic people as American citizens. It's not going to happen. I was misinformed, and I'm sorry. Okay? I have a right to make a mistake. Okay? He really sold me on this one. I really thought Trump got Greenland. And then I find out, no. Immediate nope. Immediate no. Immediately not the case. Forgot a light, dude. Let's add this light. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. So let's cover what actually happened in Greenland. All right, here we have, first of all, I wanted to play this because this is Jesse Waters. I just want you to play the way that people were talking about President Trump with this Greenland deal, because you can understand why this spectacle was convincing.
Daddy's back.
Daddy's back. All right, so now this is a fetish. This is a psychosexual problem for Jesse Waters. Daddy's back. If anyone ever says Daddy's back to me, I don't believe them anymore. I know for sure that is the mark of a grifter and a liar. If anyone refers to Donald Trump as daddy, besides, I assume, his children and his wife, then this is clearly the sign that someone was lying. So I'm sorry.
Daddy's back, and he's bringing home the bacon. Davos rolled out the red carpet, but Trump's a realist, and he can read a room.
It's great to be back in beautiful Davos, Switzerland.
Let's get to the Greenland part, Jude. Here we go. Let's see what they were saying. Okay. This is the secretary of NATO, because he was blue balling me too.
Chief Mark Rutte, who confirmed Europe is going to be giving in a little on Greenland.
Today, this agreement on working collectively on this deal getting done on the Arctic region, I think we can really commend him for taking that leadership role. He is doing exactly what I hope he would do when he was re-elected, knowing him from his first term in office. And he is right that collectively we have to protect the Arctic region.
This is why you can't trust the media. All week, what'd they tell us? Trump was going to attack Greenland. We were going to go to war with NATO and fracture the alliance. They said he was mentally ill. But wait, Trump and the NATO chief are setting up a deal for Greenland. And there's not going to be any trade war, any war. And Marco and JD Vance are going to work out the details.
This is what I thought was happening. I thought we were going to work out the details. The details meaning how much money we're going to pay Denmark for Greenland. But no, this was all bullshit. We didn't get Greenland at all. Here he is himself. I should have read through this. Look at what he had to say about it.
What are we talking about? An acquisition of Greenland? Are you going to pay for it? I mean,
we're talking about it. It's really being negotiated now, the details of it, but essentially it's total access. It's there's no end. There's no time limit.
What are we talking about? An acquisition?
That sounds a lot like we bought Greenland. Sounds a lot like it. Okay? But then today we have this statement from the Danish Prime Minister. The security of the Arctic is a matter for the entire NATO alliance. Therefore, it is good and natural that it is also discussed between the Secretary General of NATO and the President of the United States. The Kingdom of Denmark has been working for a long time to ensure that NATO increases its involvement in the Arctic. I have been informed that this has not been the case. And of course, only Denmark and Greenland itself can make decisions on issues relating to Denmark and Greenland. The Kingdom of Denmark wishes to continue to engage in constructive dialogue with allies about how we can strengthen security in the Arctic, including the United States Golden Dome, provided this is done with respect for our territorial integrity. What the fuck? I thought we were getting Greenland. I was ready. I was ready to go check it out. I was ready to fly there without a passport, with my driver's license. And then the prime minister releases this today. And I'm like, dude, what happened? I thought we bought it. I'm disappointed. I'm very disappointed.
Thank you. You have talked about this framework, the beginning of a framework that you've spoken with the NATO secretary about. Can you tell us anything about that? Does this ultimately mean that the U.S. will ultimately acquire Greenland?
Well, I don't know if I can say that, but it.
So what was the point of all this? And this is where we introduce one of my favorite Baudrillardian works, which are his 3 essays on the Gulf War. The Gulf War did not happen, the Gulf War is not happening, and the Gulf War will not have happened, which are excellent works. The acquisition of Greenland did not happen. The acquisition of Greenland is not happening, and the acquisition of Greenland will not have happened. Because this was all bullshit. He lied about it. It wasn't true. It wasn't true. And with the spectacle, look, when the Gulf War happened, the reason Baudrillard wrote about it is because he said, look, this is the first war that you're not feeling any friction with, but you still get to participate. You get to see it through your TV screen. You get to see all these cool smart bomb graphics. But at the end of the day, you're not experiencing this war. This war is completely fake. Sure, people die, but to you, this is a media war. It's completely not real. And we have surpassed war being fake. And now, nothing. And now, absolutely nothing. Not even, it's the same thing we had before. We could do whatever we wanted in Greenland. So what's the point? I don't like being boo-balled like this. All right, let's continue, dude. Let's continue. It's just, I had to apologize because it genuinely made me angry to see that I had been lied. That I had been lied to. That I had been taken advantage of. All right. Do we get to Gavin Newsom? Do we get to Gavin Newsom? Yeah, let's get to Gavin Newsom. Let's see. All right, Gavin Newsom time. Gavin Newsom, the great American psycho. I love Gavin Newsom. He's one of the best, okay? He's one of the best. He's here at Davos, okay? And he gave an amazing speech, all right? Great speeches this year, all right? We had Donald Trump's, which was like just Joe Pesci in Casino. We had Mark Carney. We had Elon Musk. He gave an interesting one. But this Gavin one, he really went into character here. Let's watch Gavin Newsom. Couple of highlights of his appearance at Davos. Okay?
In fact, this is a different conversation in the West's defense. It was the privately run USA House, which is endorsed by the State Department, funded by big American companies, which did pull an event with you with Fortune yesterday.
Yeah.
And I guess I wondered to begin with, what does that tell you about the way the U.S. private sector, which is really very heavily represented here,
So you're going to get me in trouble right off the bat.
Political moment.
I looked at I admit, looking at the list, McKinsey and Microsoft and a few California companies. So what the hell are they even talking about? But it's indicative, I think, of America. Yeah, for those of you who are not American, it gives you a sense of what we're up against and what's happening across my country and what happened here in Davos. I was going to speak last night. It was a well-established event at the USA House. Simple conversation, discussion. After Trump's speech, they made sure that I didn't. They made sure it was canceled. And that's what's happening in the United States of America. Freedom of expression, freedom of assembly, freedom of speech. It's America in reverse. They're censoring historical facts. They're rewriting history. They're censoring books, 340 books, libraries, and in schools, banned in the United States of America. You're watching institutions. Any institution of independent thinking is under assault and attack by the Trump administration. You're seeing what's playing out in the streets of American cities, what played out in California, the second largest city in the United States of America. 4,000 National Guard were federalized. 700 active duty Marines were not sent overseas. They were sent
to my largest city in the state of California. Masked men. Guy Greg Bavino, dressed up. It's as if he literally went on eBay and purchased SS garb. Greg Bavino, secret police, private army, masked men, people disappearing, quite literally, no due process, windows being smashed.
Okay, so we have, as you can see, the start of it, we have serious Newsom. My state is under attack. This is not okay. Mr. Bovino is literally a Nazi. All right. Gavin going a little hard. Doesn't stay this way though. Let's see what else he had to say. Because Gavin brought props, okay? He brought props. Let's see what he brought out here. Let's see the props.
By the way, I'm not kidding. They're the new Trump signature series knee pads. Yeah, and they are available online. I told you the last one sold out. And I just want to sort of... This is a serious moment. It actually, we laugh. Anyway, these are available and in bulk, too.
But I want to read you a couple of things the U.S. government has said about you in the last 24 hours or so.
The U.S. government.
The Treasury Secretary.
When you put it
the Treasury Secretary described you as Patrick Bateman meets Sparkle Beach Ken. The White House Communications Director.
That was the U.S. Secretary of Treasury.
I have a couple more, and then you can respond. The White House Communications Director called you Gavin Newsom, and and an official White House account, a federal government account, described you with I'd say very online sexual slur that people here probably don't want to hear at 8:30 in the morning. And you're in some sense responding in kind, and waving the knee pads around.
Fire with fire.
Do you think? Should you? I mean, is that kind of discourse from you, from them, good for America?
No.
Is it good for America for Gavin Newsom to sell Trump knee pads, which, for those that are too innocent, he's essentially calling people cocksuckers? An antiquated expression at this point. Very big in the 90s, 2000s, 2010s. When I was a kid, you'd hear cocksucker a lot. Now I think it's not used as often. Making knee pads. Is this good for the country? You're being attacked by the Treasury Secretary as American Psycho Kendall. Is it good for the country? What does American Psycho have to say about this? Let's see.
It's deeply unbecoming. Come on, of course it is. It's not what we should be doing. But you've got to point out the absurdity. You got to put a mirror up to this. This is madness. President, you see what he's saying about European leaders, you talking down to people, talking past people. I mean, look, the comments he made yesterday we're not even discussing, because you're discussing all the other comments about windmills or whatever else that was happening. Well, he talked about Somalia's community. This is not normal. It's a deviation of normalcy. We've got to call it out. So I put a mirror up to Trump and Trumpism in all caps. And it was ironic because Pravda, Fox News in America, others, they got offended by it. They said, well, where's his mother to wash his mouth out with soap? I said, well, where the hell have you been? You've never said a word about Trump dressing up as the Pope, tweeting out and cosplaying on the world stage. And so the Treasury Secretary talked about a Barbie doll. It was as if he was reading a diary and had just broken up with someone. I mean, that was the Secretary of Treasury using valuable time yesterday on the world stage. Thank you for not sharing that on the official White House account. We're deeply in their head. I think the affordability agenda appears to be, I'm living rent-free in the Trump administration's head.
So the reason that Gavin Newsom is selling knee pads, why would you buy those? I'm now I hadn't thought of this. If you're buying Trump knee pads, isn't that you calling yourself a Trump cocksucker? Is it because you're buying them presumably to put them on? I hadn't even thought of that. Why would you buy the Trump knee pads? Because if you're buying them, you're a Gavin Newsom supporter or a Democrat, right? Because they sold out. Are people buying them as like a prop to frame, or are they functional? Are they using them to, do a little extracurricular activities or something? Why would you buy the Trump knee pads? What do they look like? Let's look up the Trump knee pads. I'm curious about this. Newsom Trump knee pads. What do they look like? Okay, so they're sold out. Yeah, why would you buy this if you're a Gavin Newsom supporter? They're $100? $100? $100 for some knee pads? Why would you buy? This doesn't even make sense. Does this mean that he's wearing them? Gavin's like his retort game. It's funny, but it always has a little problem like this where I'm confused. You're gonna buy them because if you're buying them, it implies that you're sucking Trump's cock. So I would assume that what you would do is make them and then give them out for free to Republicans to smite them, right? But you're having Democrats buy them? I don't know. Someone call Tucker Carlson because this is getting a little too gay for me, and I need someone that understands the homosexuality to please explain it. All right, let's continue. That wasn't the end of the knee pad discussion, because here he came out directly and insulted a sitting senator, implying that he was a homosexual that was performing fellatio on Donald Trump.
And there's no going back. And do you think that, do you think
There's
a
always
different
going
American leader
Yes.
can bring?
I think these relationships are in dormancy. They're not dead. I don't use those binary terms. Don't fall prey to that. That's a bit hyperbolic, and I'm prone to a little of that at times. Dormancy. We can look. He's an invasive species, Donald Trump. He's not. He is. He took over the Republican Party. They're just. He's got, a few of them. Lindsey Graham. Speaking of the knee pads.
Okay, Lindsey Graham is probably gay. All right, he's probably gay. I thought that Democrats didn't indulge in this. It's nice to see Gavin do it shamelessly. He's hilarious when he does. But what are we doing here? We're calling he's gay, and so he should buy the Trump knee pads. Gavin. And I see Ephra saying Lindsey Graham probably did buy the knee pads. Right, because Lindsey Graham is, how did they say it in the past? A lifelong bachelor. Everyone knew what that meant. Gavin, this is a little low. It's a little low. You're already calling Donald Trump an invasive species. Like Donald Trump is a lionfish. The lionfish kills everything, by the way. Calling it an invasive species, again, it's like another diss that doesn't exactly work, because that would imply that he's killing everyone and everything, that he's going to win. I think that we beat very few invasive species. We beat caimans in the Everglades. That's the only one I'm aware of. They usually just take over and kill everyone. So, it implies you're going to go extinct. I see 112 said it. Yeah, it implies that you're going to go extinct because the invasive species is overpowering. Gavin. It's a little low to say that about Lindsey. It's funny. That was the best part of it. The rest of it is confusing, but the funny part is the thing about Lindsey Graham. It is pretty funny. All right. And let's get to a little bit more of the serious part here. Here he talks about how he perceives Donald Trump as a paper tiger.
Prime Minister Mark Carney the day before.
And he addresses Mark Carney, who we'll get to next.
Who talked about, in large terms, the middle powers, everybody except for China and the U.S., really had to adapt permanently to a world without American leadership. I guess I wonder, that's in some sense a pretty anti-American point of view. That's a view that America is gone from the world stage, that whether the next president is J.D. Vance, Gavin Newsom, somebody else, this isn't a deviation, as you said. This is permanent.
Well,
do you buy that? Do you buy Carney's point of view?
I felt there was moments, and forgive me, I should be cautious making this statement. I don't want it to be overanalyzed. But when I was listening to EU president speak, there were moments where I said, that used to be us. I remember that. So am I surprised by what Carney did? Quite the contrary. I thought it was, I had more leaders from the United States quietly, not publicly, not enough standing up publicly, the transcript of that speech saying, wow. They were, got in, Trump said yesterday, he brought it up. You know everything about Trump because it's what's not in the teleprompter. That tells you everything you need to know about where Trump's head is on things. It was incredibly effective. The markets were more effective. Markets. It's not Mother Nature. Thought of most powerful force on earth with Mother Nature, but it's the markets, particularly the Trump administration. Combine that with the comments of Macron, combine that with the EU commissioner, but the clarity that came from Prime Minister of Canada. But the fact that he went to China, came back with a deal, started introducing low-cost, high-quality electric vehicles, not made in Michigan, Detroit.
This is really rich from Gavin. Because the reason cars suck in America is because of California. It's because California emission standards make cars terrible. That's the reason. Gavin, come on. You're the reason. Your state is the reason that cars suck and Canada has to import from China.
But overseas, into Canada, it says everything you know about the recklessness of America's foreign policy. Everything you need to know. You know it intimately, but it's a remarkable thing to break down 80-plus years of alliances. It takes decades and decades to build trust in organizations, the architecture of that. It takes weeks, tweets, hours, minutes sometimes to destroy it. Destruction is not strength. The Trump administration is weakness masquerading as strength.
And I have had it, dude. Look, I love you, Gavin. Gavin, you're the most handsome governor in America. You should be president. You really should. Not because of any of your policies. I don't vote and I don't care about them. But just because you would be a funny president. You would be a great managed decline president. I think your psycho look is great. You know, I love it. You know, I love how you can just switch on positions on a dime. You're a funny guy. I love it. This idea, dude, I have to say, because he needs to get rid of this little bit of establishment Democrat he has in him, where he's saying that Donald Trump is a paper tiger, that Donald Trump, he's not actually in charge. He's not really as powerful as he seems. He fired tens of thousands of people. He eliminated government agencies. We have a super straight army now that kidnaps foreign leaders. This idea, and I don't know if it's wish casting to say like, oh, you know, he's actually not that powerful. He's not that powerful. He's okay, actually. And it's like, dude, come on. He is pretty powerful. He's not as powerful as FDR, that's for sure. You know, as an FDR respecter myself, I can tell you for sure. I was up in the Florida caverns, dude. I walked into the concession stand. And outside of it was a statue for the CCC, the Civilian Conservation Corps, which was this young men who were jobless that FDR paid to plant trees and build cool shit. And I walk inside this concession stand, it's this log cabin, and it says this was built in 1930 something by the Civilian Conservation Corps. And it's still used today. And my family wasn't even here, and I'm proud of that. You know, I'm like, dude, this country, man, like, it used to build cool shit. Where is that Democrat, bro? Where's that Democrat at? It's gonna be, we're gonna pay people to do cool shit. Where is that guy? You know? It fills you with pride, dude. You walk by a works project, a WPA building, Works Progress Administration building. This is so beautiful. God damn. FDR, one of the greatest white men of all time. You walk by all of his, it's like Colossus. You're like, FDR, dude, you built this beautiful fire station 100 years ago, and it's still here, and it's still the most beautiful building in all of Coral Gables. You know? So Trump is not that powerful. He's not as powerful as FDR. But he's more powerful than Joe Biden, you know? Afra says, is he really powerful or is the average American getting dumber? It's definitely a mix of both, Afra. Absolutely. I do think, because I'm glad you bring us back to earth there, Afra. He's not exactly like super powerful either. I agree that people exaggerate the power. He just fired some government employees and did a limited operation. You know, when America was powerful, it invaded 2 foreign countries and started a global war on terror. It was doing extraordinary rendition and having black sites in Poland to torture people. You know, it was renaming French fries freedom fries. That was a powerful America. Donald Trump is not that powerful. He's not as powerful as George Bush even. So, and I'm not endorsing that stuff, but I'm just saying that was a real powerful America. But I just don't like this idea of this wish casting where he's like, oh, he's not that powerful. If he's not that powerful, Gavin, then why do you care about his people that are coming in to your state to arrest people? Like, why would you care if he's not powerful? If he's not powerful, you can ignore it. You can, oh yeah, you know, it's like I mentioned them before, dude. The East German Drunkard Society. They used to be like, oh, the Soviet Union only exists in my head, you know, and they couldn't arrest them because they weren't doing anything. They were just not accepting the Soviet Union existed. They were walking around. The Soviet Union is not real. It's just in my head. You could do that if there weren't actual material there that were arresting people. But all right, Gavin, you have time to learn. You should have learned this by now, but you should have. All right. That brings us to James Carney. James Carney. I'm very glad to see that people are making fun of the right-wing Canadian Party. I think that the Canadian Conservatives are kind of like American Democrats in the sense of how pathetic they are. They are a pathetic party. They say stupid stuff all the time. Stephen Harper was the last good one. And people are bringing up these old clips of this retard, Pierre Poilievre, showing how retarded he is. So let's watch here the comparison of a chud idiot with 5'9" banker excellence.
And that is why I've made it clear that my ministers in my government will be banned from participating in the World Economic Forum when I'm in government. Yeah.
We're engaging broadly, strategically, with open eyes. We actively take on the world as it is, not wait around for a world we wish to be. We are calibrating our relationships so their depth reflects our values. And we're prioritizing broad engagement to maximize our influence. Given the fluidity of the world at the moment, the risks that this poses, and the stakes for what comes next.
So you have chud versus banker excellence. Quite clearly, the banker takes it. Even if you disagree with Mr. Carney, it's an impressive speech. That's an all-timer, certified hood classic quote. Certified hood classic. We take the world as it is, not as we wish it could be. Dude, you can say that in any accent, any language, and it's probably one of the more beautiful quotes. Dude, you could say that in Spanish. You could say that in the hood. You can say that at the golf course, and it's a great, great quote. Mark Carney, great quote. I appreciate it. And we see here that Mark Carney has not stopped, okay? Here he is biting back at President Trump. Let's listen to what he had to say after Trump said, I put you there. I built you. Canada's my bitch. I made you. Shut the fuck up.
Canada and the United States have built a remarkable partnership in the economy, in security, and in rich cultural exchange. But Canada doesn't live because of the United States. Canada thrives because we are Canadian.
Canada was built by Canadians. No retconning here, President Trump. We built this country. And he went even further. Let's listen to him here. Now he's co-opting Reaganism, a little bit of Trumpism in his rhetoric, but it's delivered with a very calm corporate voice.
Canada is ambitious. Canada is an ambitious nation of builders and explorers. We mapped this continent before the Americans had even left St. Louis. We built a transcontinental railway in 5 years, the St. Lawrence Seaway in 4. We created a healthcare system that became a model for the world. This government Canada's new government, shares that ambition. We've already removed all federal barriers to interprovincial trade, and we're catalyzing hundreds of billions of dollars of investments in nation-building projects. We're doubling our defense spending by the end of this decade. And we're working to ensure that core Canadian capabilities, including in AI, in quantum, in cyber, and critical minerals, will maximize the economic benefit for Canadians of these new security imperatives. Now we need to execute fairly and fast. Canada's ambition.
I want to see you execute. I really would, Mark Carney. He also had a great quote. I couldn't find it, where he said, "We mapped out the whole continent while the Americans were still in St. Louis." We was kanging. Everyone does a little we was kanging every once in a while. It's okay. I didn't know the Canadians did it too. We were exploring the world while the Americans were in St. Louis. I can relate. I like to do a little we was kanging too, all right? Chileans conquered the world. We have an empire. We have Easter Island. You come to us, Everyone gets the we was kang every once in a while. Everyone gets to do it. Okay, this includes white people. This includes every ethnicity. At some point, dude, there's a Georgian guy that I buy wine from, and he gave me, you know that an ethnic is gonna we was kang you when he gives you this look after you said something? And I was like, dude, this wine is so good. I didn't know that Georgia even had wine. He just gave me the look. And then he went off for like 30 minutes about how the Greeks and the Italians stole wine, and it's all from Georgia, and any wine that you buy that isn't Georgian is poison because they follow the original recipe. Everyone has that thing. Every culture has we was kangs. Now we're not, but we was kangs. So, I don't like to make fun of people for doing that. We was kangs. So, if Canada's ambitious and they need to execute, I would like to see them execute. I would really appreciate it. That's our Carney update. Canada bites back. Canada, they're not taking it lying down, man. They're not taking it lying down. Before we get to, we still have a shit ton of time. ICE. I want to look at a couple of things in the Fuentes department. I know some people are Fuentes fans here. And these are important clips. The first one here I want to show you is, I have to say, dude, there's been a couple coincidences. And now I'm like, dude, this guy has to be either watching the show or our Hispanic brains work very similar. I said months ago that you should be aspiring every day to marry Bonnie Blue. Bonnie Blue is the ideal Nietzschean wife for this era. And now I hear this on Twitter. Nick Fuentes is saying he wants to marry an OnlyFans girl. I already said this months ago.
I kind of want to marry an OnlyFans girl. Okay. Do you guys ever, and I'm not going to, obviously, because it wouldn't be traditional or Catholic and wholesome. Okay. Can anybody else relate? Sometimes, hang on, sometimes, now hang on, chat. Hello? Can you still hear me? Hang on, stop. Chat, hang on, now hear me out. Sometimes, I just feel like it would be kind of hot to marry a total whore. But maybe that's just me. I don't know if you agree. Look, you don't have to agree with that. You don't have to relate to that or like that. But you know what? Sometimes you're like, I kind of want to marry a porn star or a whore. I'm not going to, okay? I'm just saying, sometimes you think that would be hot. I'm just saying. Everyone in the chat is mixed. Chat has mixed feelings about this. I said what I said. There, I said it. We've all thought it before. You either thought this before, or you're lying, or you're gay. Those are your options. Pick.
I said this months ago. And I have to say, I have to be complimentary. I have to be kind to Mr. Fuentes here. I'm very glad to hear the incel thought leader of this country say this. Okay, I'm very glad to hear it, because this is a way of fixing gender relations in this country, dude. What if all the incels kissed all the OnlyFans girls in Miami? It would fix all of the problems. And seeding this idea, it's not bad. Dude, people keep insisting that this is not realistic, that these girls are not going to get married. They're going to get married, okay? People can look past this kind of stuff. You know, there were kings that married prostitutes in the past. This has happened. This is not unexpected. There is some wisdom in this position. And in the age of Bonnie Blue, that is the highest value. It's time. It's time for Americans. It's time for American incels to deal with the world as it is and not as they wish it would be. It's time. Guys, it's time. It's time. I understand that maybe you don't agree with my radical position because this is more of a hedonistic, marry someone who has been with many people. Mine is more so, dude, if you marry Bonnie Blue, you're going to be unstoppable. You know that, right? You know that you have an ultimate Nietzschean woman by your side, right? This is a woman who has transcended all aspects. A transgressive who has broken through every societal norm in order to win. That is your Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton, there are bad things to say about her, but Hillary Clinton is who you should want to marry. Hillary Clinton is a genius. Okay? Hillary Clinton stood by her man because she knew she wanted to kill the leader of Libya. And if it took 30 years, she was going to do it, but she wasn't going to divorce her meal ticket to go make Libya an open slave market. So she didn't embarrass him, and she put up with it. And you think that there's no wisdom in this position? At your own peril, incels. At your own peril. At your own peril. I have to be very complimentary. It's high time we mend the intergender relations. This seems like an opening shot in this. And to think that they call this guy gay, and now he's calling you gay if you don't adopt this position. Very interesting. And secondly, on a more serious note, we have to see this here. This was a great response because we've been following Vivek Ramaswamy, okay? And Mr. Fuentes is getting more involved in politics proper. We see the rise of James Fishback off the backs of Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes to an extent, Beardson Beardley, who was an acolyte of Fuentes. We see this happening in Florida. All right? This is a ascendant political movement, one that may be a sort of kingmaker for a demographic. And we've been following this race with America's chief nerd, Mr. Vivek Ramaswamy, this disgusting creature, this horrible person. And Nick Fuentes, well, I'll play it for you here to see that this involvement is not just positive. It can also be detrimental to candidates. And if Fishback pulls this off and Vivek loses because of the Groyper movement, this would be a real test case in their influence. So I want to play this here because this is what we're going to look out for. I'm very excited to see this actually happen in real life.
Steer Zero Foamy sent $25.
There we
Vivek
go.
is more vulnerable in the primary than the general. Open primary. So if turnout is high, Vivek loses. His op, Casey Push was on with Benny Plus Basil and Galleon Charter. He seems real. May 5th.
Yeah, I don't know. I looked at the polling. I support Casey Push, but I don't think he can win. And I think that here's the problem. If we put all our resources behind a primary candidate that can't win and he loses, then people are going to say, all right, well, now you got to support Vivek. Or worse. We support Casey push, he wins, and then he loses in the general, and then we look like assholes. I think the best case scenario is that Vivek wins the primary and then loses the general. And then we could say, okay, well, we did it your way. Your guy won the primary and he lost. And I think we need to just actually punish the GOP. I think Vivek needs to lose in the general. So my mind is, I'm not going to intervene in the primary. I'm going to intervene in the general. If Casey Push can pull it off, I wish him luck. God bless. Vivek has endorsements from everybody, from Trump, from Vance, from everybody up and down. I think he's got it. He's got money. I think Vivek is almost a shoo-in for the primary. We got to get involved in the general and say, stay home. The GOP needs to learn a valuable lesson, which is you endorse and you nominate anchor babies that insult American citizens, you're going to lose. We're going to take the state from you. And that'll hurt Republicans, and I hope it does. Fuck them. They appointed Vivek to do this. Shouldn't have done it. Lieutenant governor could have ran. They filled Vance's Senate seat to clear the way for Vivek. They shouldn't have done that. Big mistake. So no. I think that Vivek has to lose in the general. That's the message we need to say, that we need to send.
Oval had sent $25. Steer 0.
Very strategic. Very smart. I like this very pragmatic, dare I say, realpolitik approach, which is, dude, and I agree. I don't think that Casey is going to win. I don't think he's going to win this. We'll have to see, but Polymarket does not have him favorable. Vivek Ramaswamy is a very powerful brand name, and I think he'll win the nomination. And if you're willing to punish people in Ohio and elect a Democrat who might do what we saw earlier, dude, we saw a Democrat who won in Virginia, and she came in and did a bunch of stuff that I assume the Nick Fuentes coalition does not like. But if you're willing to put up with that pain in order to teach the GOP a lesson, whether you teach them a lesson or not in terms of nominating better people, if they know that they have to take you seriously, this becomes a serious political movement. If it's not already, this is going to be a great year, dude. These midterms are going to be a lot of fun to watch, dude. These governor's races are going to be a lot of fun to watch. There is the ascendant Zoran Mamdani wing, and there is the ascendant Fuentes wing, and these guys are holding their own side's feet to the fire. This is kind of a push by a new counter elite. Not to get too technical, but I've been listening to some Peter, what's his name? Peter Tushkin, great Russian American philosopher who describes this process. So we're seeing a rising amount of political movements that are trying to push the establishment out, and I'm very excited to see if they can succeed, because normally they wouldn't. They would not. So I'm very proud to see it, because, I mean, that's all we can ask for at this point, right? We could ask for, if our politics is going to suck, because both of these sides suck, then at least it can be entertaining, you know? It can be entertaining. And, dude, I'd rather see Zoran and Nick Fuentes run for president and fight each other there than watch, I don't know, like, fucking J.D. Vance and who's like some stupid Democrat that sucks. Not Gavin Newsom. I would love to see that. J.D. Vance and like, I don't know, Jasmine Crockett or something. Like one of these people that's just retarded. Who else is stupid like this? Charlie Crist. I know my Florida Democrats. I guess like Ro Khanna. Like that would suck. Ro Khanna versus J.D. Vance would be retarded. It would be terrible. So, I'm very glad to see it. Let's get to ICE. Or Josh Shapiro. Mr. Yu says, dude, Josh Shapiro. And by the way, I think my producer's the one who showed me it. I do think Josh Shapiro is going to get it with Wes Moore. I think they're going to get the nomination. My producer has convinced me. And it's going to, dude, I don't know how this is going to play, because despite how people feel about the Jewish faith and Israel, they recently resurfaced something in his book, which he wrote recently, where he said that Kamala approached him and said, do you work for America or do you work for Israel? Who knows if that's true or not? Who knows? But the fact that he said that that's happening shows that there is something inside of the Democratic Party, because I assume it's probably spun from something that is true. And definitely on the Republican side, that is not very happy with people of the Jewish faith. And so it's going to be a problem where I don't know if Josh Shapiro can do it purely based on that now. And I'm not being racist here, dude, because I've said it for everyone. I've said it before. If people are not tall enough, they will not win a presidency. I think it would be very difficult for a woman to win the presidency of the United States. I think it'd be very difficult for a black person to win the presidency. A Latino, it's getting a little bit easier, but I think people are hesitant to vote for someone with a vowel at the end of their name, even now. So Josh Shapiro, despite his like white presenting, dude, the guy is of the Jewish faith. He would be the first Jewish president. And he would come in with Wes Moore, who is palatable. He's also a tether. You know, he's not actually a black American. He's like Jamaican or something. But I do think it's going to be difficult for Josh Shapiro in that sense. And I don't know if the Democrats are going to want that either, dude. I'm not being racist, dude. I have no problem. If they were like a Jewish guy that was super competent for the job, whatever. But it seems like this is an issue that will come up. It will come up. Because all of our presidents, mostly, they've all been WASPs. There's some Irish in there, you know, Joe Biden. But Joe Biden is functionally a WASP. JFK, he was a Catholic, but he's functionally a WASP as well, the way he dressed. He created modern WASP culture in terms of dress. The only exceptions are Barack Obama and Donald Trump, who's German. And the only high elected office where I've seen a Jewish American succeed, I haven't even seen it, was reading about Judah P. Benjamin, who became, I think, vice president of the Confederacy back in the 19th century. I assume that there's been some like Jewish vice presidents. Let's see if that's the case. But I think this is something that's going to come on. Have there been Jewish VPs in the U.S.? This is a real fucking issue that people are not discussing. Because they're treating him as another white guy, but especially after the Gaza protests and all this, it's going to be a problem. Let me just search here for vice president on the wiki page. Oh, Doug Emhoff, I guess. Yeah, but he wasn't even the vice president. First Jewish nominee. Dude, there hasn't been a Jewish vice president or president in this country. This is going to matter. It's going to matter. So, besides the Old South, where a Jewish guy was elected, Judah P. Benjamin, I know that very clearly because he stayed at the Gamble Plantation, which is like 4 hours from my house. And I've been there. That's when he was sneaking over to England. I think it's going to be a difficult question. And I don't want to, I'm not calling him I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I'm not saying anything about his faith. All I'm saying, Joe Lieberman, Ironhammer Forge, how you doing, man? Joe Lieberman. And Joe Lieberman was different because I don't know, like Joe Lieberman, I obviously he was perceived as Jewish because of his name, but he was coming in, Joe Lieberman, because he was going to run with McCain, right? He was a maverick, like he was of a maverick type thing. So that kind of changes things. Kind of like Obama was black, sure, but he was really like the hope and change guy. The identity became secondary. But with the way that things are going now, it seems like this is going to be the primary issue for him. And I'm not saying that I don't want him to win or anything. I don't vote, so it doesn't even matter. I'm just being honest here. It's going to be very difficult with this radicalized Democratic Party, as well as rising anti-Jewish sentiment across the country. They're the ones who talk about it. Oh, Al Gore and Lieberman. Yeah, Gore and Lieberman. I just remember Lieberman mostly from when McCain eventually picked Palin, but he was going to pick Lieberman. Well, yeah, Al Gore. Al Gore is a difficult one to say because that election had some shenanigans. He could have won, but damn, dude, this is. I'm really, really excited to see what that would reveal about the United States because, dude, it's gonna make things pretty difficult. Jewish people are already unhappy with the way things are going, but if you have a Jewish guy run for president and lose, I assume that they're going to, like any minority group, is going to be like, he lost because of this. And it's like, dude, that's just going to add more fuel to the fire. Like, do you really want to do that? I don't know. Who would be like the best Jewish president? I think it would probably be I'm trying to think of like CEOs. Jamie Dimon. By the way, Jamie Dimon is Greek. A lot of people think he's Jewish. He's Greek. Who are like Jim Simmons? I think Jim Simmons was Jewish. That would be like, we'd be like the richest country in the world because he did Renaissance technology, but he recently passed. You know, it'd be like a titan of industry. So it'd be interesting to see, but I don't think it. Bernie says, Mr. Elu. Bernie, you're right. Bernie was a Jewish, but that's the thing is Bernie even perceived as a Jewish guy by a lot of people? Because Bernie's perceived as like the old socialist, which is different. So I'm not trying to black pill Jewish people or anything. Pritzker, you're right. Oh, you know, Anthony Weiner was going in that direction. But before the scandal, Anthony Weiner was an interesting guy. I'm an Anthony Weiner kind of defender. Not the sexual stuff. I'm talking about I kind of liked his energy. Elliot Spitzer, I assume, is Jewish too. Elliot Spitzer fucking took on the banks, like for real. And then they fucking put that scandal on him. There are some interesting guys that could be president that are Jewish. I don't know if Josh Shapiro's the guy. Have you seen Josh Shapiro? I saw him on Bill Maher. Josh Shapiro's a psychopath. He's like Gavin Newsom without the Riz. So I don't see it personally. I really don't. I think that it's a bad ticket. They could win by default if things go really bad in the country, but I don't think so. I think it's going to be very difficult. I'm not trying to blackpill any Jewish audience members or anything. I have nothing against you, but you have to think about that one, dude. It's like, it's the same thing as I'm Hispanic, right? And if you told me you were going to run Maria Elvira Salazar for president, I would tell you that woman is not going to win the presidency. She's not going to win it. She's not. Latinos that could win the presidency realistically is like Marco Rubio, and I think that's it. Because Ruben Gallegos is a clown. AOC is she's not even Latina at this point, dude. It's like a socialist. It's different. So the Latino-ness doesn't even come into play. It's very, very hard to say. He's doing an Obama impression of Mr. He is. Josh Shapiro does an Obama impression, and it's a bad impression. I don't like Josh Shapiro. He gives me the fucking creeps. Ruben Gallegos is, dude, hang on, man. We have to get to ICE to end the show, but let me show you. Ruben Gallegos is one of these fucking annoying Democrat guys, dude. Like, Ruben Gallegos. Let's see. This guy. You've seen this guy around. Ruben Gallegos. He can't be the president. Neither can the twins, whatever, Juan and whatever his name is. So, not to blackpill Jewish people, man, but I'm not sure if you could have a Jewish president in this climate, nor am I sure that running a Jewish guy is even a good idea. Because if you lose, I know why you're going to be angry. Maria Salazar is the congresswoman from my state. She's a pretty big agitator. She was a former journalist who interviewed Fidel Castro and Maduro, and she became, no one really liked her in Miami, but in Miami, they were going to vote Republican anyway. You know, people don't like her because she interviewed Castro. They don't see her as legit. But yeah, look, dude, I want to be clear. I'm not trying to blackpill Jewish people. I think Jewish people are very talented. But guys, I know how you're going to feel if you lose. And I know what you're going to say. And I'm not sure if it's a good look, man. Because it's... All right. I'm glad we got to riff a little bit on that. Let's catch up with ICE and let's get out of here. What's going on with ICE? So here we have the Black Panthers. We see the rise of the Black Panthers again. What are they saying now?
Our stance is, for illegals. We're not going to step in front of that. That's not our fight. That has nothing to do with us. We're not going to step into that fight and going through the community defending somebody that we didn't even want to be here.
Black people are getting on board. They're getting on board with we need to deport these people. It's not surprising. As someone from the South, I'll tell you, I'm not even judging them for it. Latinos took a lot of agricultural jobs that Black people traditionally had. At least in the South, that's what I know. So I get it. I get it. I thought we were all brothers, though. I thought we were, the Rainbow Coalition, Brown Berets, Black Panthers, and the poor white guys. But I guess not anymore. All right. What else is going on? Here, this was an interesting clip. We see an arrest here. I can't tell if this is real or not. You guys let me know if it's real. This looks too produced, but let's check it out.
You're in violation of your DACA status, man. Okay, if you're on DACA, you cannot have any sort of criminal record. Okay, so go to 1015.
Go ahead and turn around. Put your hands behind
For
your
what,
back.
though?
Turn around. Put your hands behind your back. Come on.
All right, no, hold on.
Come on.
Hey, relax, man, relax. Go open the door. Open the door.
He locked it. He locked it. It's locked.
Shit. Back up. Back up. Back up. Get over here. Over here. Get over here, man. What the fuck are you doing? Why are you running? Why the fuck are you running, man?
Guys are all up on me.
Okay. Do you have any weapons on you?
No.
So why did you run, man? Why did you run? Here.
Come on,
Spread your feet, man. Spread your feet.
Not doing nothing. Come on.
Okay. So I guess you're going back to Venezuela, kid.
Can't, man. They'll kill me.
They'll kill you in Venezuela? You should have thought about it before you ran, dude. You got 2 DUIs, you're on DACA. What's wrong with you, man?
I don't know.
All right, dude. Let's go, man. I hope you enjoy your trip back to Venezuela, man. Don't you worry, man. We already got Maduro, so you'll be fine.
Look, clearly the cop is Hispanic as well. I know some people will watch this, and I don't know if it's real or not, and be horrified. But I will say this, dude, and this is something that I've never understood this. First of all, don't run from the police like this, dude. You will get shot. This is a very lucky man, because a lot of cops are trigger happy, and these police were like somewhat professional. But what I will say is this, dude, if you're on DACA in the United States, how do you have 2 DUIs? Guys, I don't know. I don't have a DUI. I haven't gotten a DUI. Maybe that makes me a square. I'm not admitting or denying anything about my driving habits, okay? But I don't have a DUI. How do you get a DUI? Why would you even put yourself in this position? I know that I've seen a lot of liberals being like, dude, you're reporting people for traffic infractions, but these are DUIs. And DUIs, look, I'm not a DUI guy, dude. I hate traffic enforcement. I think it's a waste of time. Okay? I think DUI is a fake crime because if you're drunk driving and you don't hit anyone, then what's the difference? You know, I think that they should actually ticket people for driving snoozy because I've done that before and that's really dangerous. DUI, let's be real. Most people do this. However, if you're in this type of situation where you're on DACA, why would you have 2 DUIs? The first one didn't teach you the lesson of drinking and driving. I'm not trying to be harsh or judgmental, but when people defend this behavior, I'm just like, dude. And by the way, this whole thing is a waste of time. I am not saying that this is not a waste of time. This is retarded. This is stupid. I'm not even defending the actions. I'm just saying, dude, it's like you have to look out for your own self-interest. How do you have a DUI? 2 DUIs and you're on DACA. All right. Let's watch here Don Lemon. Disgraceful, disgusting Don Lemon. Him and Chris Cuomo, the worst. Don Lemon has gone into the trade of making people schizophrenic. He loves making people crazy. He's a street interviewer now. He might as well go out there and ask them the questions like, what's your body count? Because he's ridiculous. This was a serious journalist at one point. Let's see what he's doing harassing normal people.
Okay, crossing the border illegally is not a crime?
No, it's not a criminal act. Okay. It's a misdemeanor.
So why are they being sent back and saying that they're breaking the law?
That's the point.
Okay, as somebody that actually...
We don't know if they're breaking the law because they won't tell. There's no due process. Where's the evidence? That's the whole point. And if they are breaking...
A misdemeanor is a crime.
The law, most people will say, okay, then they need to go if they're criminals. But if they're not, why are they being rounded up and sent out? Especially when he promised to deport the criminals. And now he's not doing that.
Yeah, I don't think we're going...
Misdemeanor is not a crime. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. So misdemeanor is not
it's
a crime?
It's not a criminal act, no. If you get charged with a misdemeanor, that's not a criminal act.
So why get charged at all then, if it's not a criminal act?
Because we have different levels of crime. Everything is not the same.
So it is crime.
No,
it's just
we
have
different levels of. I shouldn't say crime, but it's not. It's not a crime. You're not breaking the law. I mean, you are breaking the law, but it's not a criminal act.
So it's breaking the law.
No,
the law, but
you're not breaking the law.
The misdemeanor is not breaking the law.
No.
If you're speeding, drinking, get pulled over, DUI.
That's not a criminal. Well, no.
It's a
If you're
misdemeanor.
speeding, is a misdemeanor.
It's a misdemeanor.
Right.
So it's still breaking the law.
Okay. Well, if you want to qualify that, we're doing semantics. But what I'm saying, but what I'm trying to tell you is everything is not the same. It's all not one thing.
But is it the law?
What is it? The law that what?
Is it a law to come over legally? Is there a law?
There are rules that processes that you should follow. Yeah. So you're breaking rules. You're breaking the rules, but you're not necessarily breaking a law.
So what happens when you break the rules?
Then you suffer the consequences. But the consequences should not. Look, no one is saying no one should suffer the consequences. You guys are getting.
Is Don Lemon a lawyer? Let me check. I just saw Mr. Elu say he went to Harvard. Doesn't surprise me. The retard factory. How can I be a dictator? I didn't go to Harvard. Best Maduro quote of all time. Best Maduro quote of all time. Did he go to Harvard? Dude, are you trolling, Mr. Elu? Did he go to Harvard? He didn't go to Harvard. Don't troll me, bro. Come on. He went to Brooklyn College. And he got a BA. LSU, Brooklyn College with a major in journalism. Okay, so he's not a lawyer. He's not a lawyer. He's not a lawyer. He's not a lawyer. Don Lemon is not a lawyer. He's a moron, a retard. And he's going out there. Dude, this is the same thing about literacy. Someone should take their microphones away, man. These people, all they do out there is go out there with misinformation. And I'm not against misinformation. Misinformation is fine. But when you're doing it in a way that's harassing other people, you're using misinformation to make them crazy. You know, what really bothers me about this is there's a guy that I like. I don't have a big problem with him. You know, Michael Malice, he's an anarchist. I think anarchism is a little ridiculous, but whatever. And he always used to say, because I used to follow him more closely back in the day, that the good thing about the corporate media dying, meaning CNN, MSNBC, and all this stuff, is that these people are untalented and they will not be able to find an audience outside of their respective institution. And then they will not actually be able to make a profit and they'll go out of business and they'll have to shut up, right? Well, the reality is this. That's not true. I thought it was true until I saw this. Don Lemon, Tucker Carlson, who else? Chuck Todd, I assume. All of these people, Barry Weiss, all of these people that were with an institution have all just gone on to make the world worse with a bigger impact. Chris Cuomo. I know Tucker, we cut him some slack on here, but I'm just saying, like, Tucker was not talking the shit he was talking on Fox News on TCN. Now he's talking about how he's getting attacked by demons. You know, so it's just Jim Acosta. Yeah, these guys, I really thought it's, oh yeah, they'll be out of a job. They won't do anything. Yes, they will. They're going to continue to make the country insane. They're going to keep doing it. They're not good people. And I think that they will do it at a loss because these people are egocentric, narcissistic theater kids who want to be fighting with other people. So they'll self-fund this. Don Lemon and his husband, his white husband, for all his black power bullshit, I'm sure they're paying out of pocket to do this stupid show. Let's get to like our last clip. Let's end with this, bro. Let's watch Bovino here and let's see Gavin Newsom describe him. Here's Bovino, who has been described as an SS officer.
I'm in the gas. Get back. Gas is coming. Gas warning. Gas warning. Warning. Gas on. Help. Hey.
You should move if they're saying there's gas. I have not experienced CN gas or tear gas, but I know people who have in Venezuela. You should move. You should not stay there. He's giving you a warning. I'm not saying it's okay to deploy gas like this. I'm actually against using any kind of gas on the citizenry because it's a lot more dangerous than they say. But dude, like, people need to look out for their own self-interest. If fucking the Nazi SS guy, as he's being perceived by liberals, is telling you that he's going to throw gas at you, shouldn't you be worried that, I don't know, it's like Zyklon B or mustard gas or something? You should move because he's an SS Nazi guy, right? You should move over. This is not a fun experience, dude. I know people who have been fucking shot with this gas. I know people who've been shot with rubber bullets. People think, oh, it's rubber bullets, it's gas. It's like in the movies. No, it's real life, dude. You will fuck up your lungs for the rest of your life.
You just get back! Get here!
I don't approve of Bovino's behavior, to be honest. I've said it before. I didn't like him at Target. You know, I don't like how he's like kind of taunting the public. I don't think it's good for the mental health of the country. And here we have Gavin Newsom, who said, this is like a crazy tweet. Nazi coded. Sorry, we had an issue there. This is a common outfit outside of the U.S. with military leaders. You know, people around the world wear capes. We just don't wear capes on the street anymore. So, and this tweet just Nazi coded. It's like, dude, I'm gonna be honest, bro. Like you're glazing him. Like this is like a glaze. You're putting a thirst trap picture and like summoning forces you don't understand. There's a reason people still talk about Nazi uniforms because they found them cool. Even today, like, dude, people will admit, I'm not a Hugo Boss fan. I think Nazi uniforms were actually pretty gay. But whatever, that's besides the point. People think they're cool. So, you know, you're saying he's Nazi coated. We're going to be like, yo, dude, that coat goes kind of hard, bro. He's got that shit on. You know, so this is not effective, I don't think. It's not good for the mental health of the country to start calling Border Patrol Nazis. I'm not a fan of Border Patrol. I'm not a fan of ICE. I'm not a fan. Actually, Border Patrol, I don't mind. CBP, I guess Border Patrol is part of CBP. Border Patrol is like a normal thing. I don't like the inland checkpoints, but on the border, they're fine, right? I mean, like Border Patrol just like does passport checking, tries to stop human trafficking. Traditionally, now they do a bunch of other bullshit, but Border Patrol's fine. Historically. After 9/11, it got annoying, but Border Patrol was not bad. You know, Border Patrol's a pretty cool institution. Yeah, back in the day, they used to tell me, they'd be like, dude, you should join the Border Patrol. Like, it's good money. Every Latino, they would tell you, like, hey, Border Patrol is good money. You can make good money in Border Patrol. And because they always had a shortage of employees because no one wanted to do it because you're out in the middle of fucking nowhere. Traditionally. Now you're fucking on the border with, you're inside of fucking Buffalo, you know? But back in the day, it was like, oh, dude, you'll be in the desert. It's going to suck for a few years. No ladies out there. You're going to see some horrible shit. But, bro, you're going to get a fat pension and you're going to get paid pretty well. It's Border Patrol. Border Patrol was always like, okay. I don't like a lot of the post 9/11 institutions, but Border Patrol is like a legacy one, you know? I don't like ICE, DHS. Border Patrol's fine. You know? Airports counted borders, mystery loot. Dude. Is Border Patrol part of CBP? How does that work exactly? Let me see. Is Border Patrol CBP? Because CBP is Customs and Borders. The same as CBP. Or is it part of CBP? No, they're not the same. Yeah, Border Patrol is a major component within the larger CBP. Yeah, CBP. Okay. Yeah, Border Patrol. Border Patrol back in the day was like taking narco money to like wave in a truck, stop a guy with a woman in the back of his truck, scan American passports. It was like a chill gig. Now we have Nazi coated. All right, dude. These the Democrats, the Republicans, they've all lost their damn minds, bro. These people are crazy. All right, like, comment, and subscribe, everyone. Please get in there and like. Please get in there and comment. It's free. It costs you nothing. Like it, comment, and subscribe. Subscribing is what helps a lot. If you want to go the extra mile, become a member on YouTube. That really helps. We have our members here displayed below, as well as our super chatters. These are great people that have financially backed the show. You can also join us over here on our Discord. Link is in the description. Discord's pretty cool. We have a lot of fun in here, okay? And where's I Hate Everything? What's he got going on in New York? He's in there. 112's in there. Mr. Elu's in there. We have the Patreon. $5 or $20 a month gets you access to the King Leo Movie Club. New episode probably tomorrow. I'm at least going to do it weekly, so hold your horses, all right? And we have the What Would a Postmodernist Do parody bracelet available at the coffee link below. But make sure you subscribe, guys. So I want to break this 2K. Dude, this tie stays on till we hit 2,000 subscribers. I will buy a new tie when we hit 2,000 subscribers, okay? Till then, you're going to be tortured with this one. Dude, it got hot in this thing. Look at this thing. Messed up my hair. I think we'll do this on Thursday. It'll be Royal Thursdays. Maybe we'll have a theme song. We should theme every day. I have a Koopy. We could do like Black Nationalist Monday, Royal Thursdays, Hispanic Nationalist Fridays. I don't know, dude. I'm excited for February, Black History Month. We're going to do like Black Person of the Day on the show. Should be good. And I don't want to offend anyone. So I know there's no White History Month, but I know for our white viewers, I know you guys don't have a History Month, and I prefer Heritage Months, but if you want a White History Month, we can do that too. We put up a white guy that did something cool every day. I like Black History Month. I think it's cool personally. So we'll do that. But if the white guys want that too, we can do Indian History Month for Mr. Elu, but I'm not really familiar. We do Jewish History Month for any Jewish people. Our history is year-round, says Iron Hammer Forge. Yeah, but dude, like, I don't know. I like these months. I like people being reminded of, like, the greatness of their ancestors, you know? White, to me, has always been, like, a strange racial category because I'm much more of a heritage guy. I'm like, oh, you know, you have Italian History Month, Swedish History Month. But if white people want to be white and they want White History Month, you know, it's like, all right, dude, we'll do Thomas Edison. I love Thomas Edison. Top 5 white people of all time. It's got to be, like, Thomas Edison. No, Steve Jobs was Middle Eastern. It's Thomas Edison, probably Franklin Roosevelt. It's got to be fucking. I'm going American. Let's go American. Top white Americans: Thomas Edison, Franklin Roosevelt. I want to go just presidents. I don't want to go Charles Lindbergh, obviously, great aviator. Howard Hughes is in there for sure. And for number 5, who else is a white guy? Who else is a cool white guy? We'll throw John Cusack in there. How about that? Top 5 black people, it's got to be Malcolm X. It's got to be Malcolm X. We're going Black American. Malcolm X. George Washington Carver. Alex Haley. That's kind of a cheat. Great writer. Zora Neale Hurston. Great writer. And Kanye West, of course. I'm a Kanye fan. Top 5 Hispanic people. We'll go with American types. Cesar Chavez, legend. Legend. Marco Rubio, legend. That Puerto Rican guy that was a general in World War II, legend. I forgot his name. It's kind of hard to think people that are, you know, both American and Hispanic. But yeah, there's a lot of legends out there. So if you guys want White History Month, we can do White History Month. Thank you, 112. I appreciate it. Let's catch up with the chat. You're a great teacher. I've always liked teaching. Teaching's I love to teach people how to drive. Teaching people how to drive is one of my favorite things to do. I really do. Teaching is a lot of fun, man. Frustrated professor over here. I saw here, Ephra said something interesting here. On my brother's ancestry test, which I personally don't take that seriously, it says that he is 10% Jewish and mostly Portuguese and strangely English, but don't know anyone in my family who practices Judaism. Well, if he's Portuguese, it's probably like Sephardic, right? Which, of course, I probably have Sephardic. My last name is either Basque or Sephardic. That's like way back, dude. Like the Inquisition worked, man. I don't know any of that shit. You know, I'm fucking Hispanic, Chilean, Venezuelan, American. So, you know, but like, yeah, I'm sure that like, yeah, I had an Ashkenazi buddy who was trying to get Spanish citizenship. And he found some loophole where if your Ashkenazi ancestor was buried in a Sephardic cemetery in Spain, you got Spanish citizenship. And I think he qualified because of that. But the Sephardics, I think the Sephardics and the Ashkenazis don't get along. And Mr. Elu says, wasn't Columbus Sephardic? There are theories of that. It's pretty interesting. I haven't done the deep dive on it, but apparently Columbus made a lot of references to the Old Testament on his voyage, not so much the New Testament. And Columbus is one of these guys who has a mysterious past, and in history, that's usually a guy who was, you know, they couldn't wear it on their chest, you know. So I thought it was confirmed. I don't know. I don't know if Columbus was Jewish, man. I really don't. I've been to his grave. Well, one of them, because the Dominicans say they have the other one. Interesting stuff. Thank you, 112. A divergent idea on the table. Professor Leo segment. We'll see that. We'll see it. Ironhammer Forge says there's a book about it. I didn't read it, but heard a review. There's a guy from Florida who does a pretty good show about Florida that claims this. He was on... The reason I used to watch him years ago, dude, this guy has like the coolest theories. He says that the Mayans were here. That's why we have mounds. It's like a Florida nationalist type of guy. And he was on this guy's show, and this is how I got reminded of it. You know, the MMA guy who's like hates Jewish people. Or no, he doesn't. I'm not going to disparage him. He hates Israel. I don't know. But anyway, he was on that podcast, and I was like, holy shit, I remember this guy. So I want to go back and learn about it. You can find out in Utah, largest genealogy in the world. Jake Shields. Yes, Jake Shields. Yeah, Jake Shields. Dude, let me fucking find it so you guys can watch it. It's worth watching. It's pretty cool. I haven't seen any other Jake Shields interviews except his one with Richard Spencer. I like to look at Richard these days. He's a smart guy. I don't really think he's like he used to be, but despite that, he's very smart. There's like this, dude, this guy was really cool. Yeah, this guy here, Dr. Longo. This guy's really cool on the Columbus thing. Dude, like, check this out. I haven't finished it, but he's been at this for years. Like, he's a smart guy. There's a lot of cool scholarship. Dr. Longo on YouTube. He's really cool. Mayans did space exploration. All right. Mexican nationalists in chat. Yeah, we were the Mayans. We were in space. We got to do a little we was kanging. Chinese we was kanging is great, too. We are the center of the universe. Century of humiliation is over. President Xi. All right. Everybody, like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribing is free. We'll be back tomorrow. Maybe there'll be another theme. But now we have this one. Royal Thursdays. Sometimes the jester wears a crown. I appreciate you guys tuning in. And I will see you guys tomorrow.
Change the world. My final message.